Good morning, or well, good afternoon, and welcome to IJKL on this Monday, May 9th, where we have Rabbi Akiva Mann sharing with us his thoughts and insights about the soul. Rabbi?
Okay. Sorry. So the operative phrase that I think should be put to memory and placed permanently in your, not only in your memory banks, but in the encompassment of our consciousnesses, tamid, constantly, always, was this little phrase that I introduced last week about that which cannot be seen, cannot be heard, cannot be known, yet without which nothing can be seen, heard, or known. I think that points to a definition, one of the best definitions of the soul that I know of. That which cannot be seen, cannot be heard, cannot be known, yet without which nothing can be seen, heard, or known. So there's this old parable about clay pots. And the father is showing his daughter clay pots and trying to have her understand what clay pots actually are, and goes into the cupboard, the pot cupboard, and takes out 10 varieties of pots and asks his daughter to indicate the differences of the pots. And the daughter very astutely points out that this pot is blue, and the other pot is painted yellow, and the other one is orange, and the other one is plain colored, and this one has a scratch on it. The other one has a crack in it. The other one has a dent in it, and starts pointing out all of the differences of the clay pots. There's a diversity and a duality amongst the clay pots. Then the wise father indicates to the daughter that really, in essence, there is no diversity in the pots. There really is no real significant difference between the pots. Because the father says to the daughter, if you really take a close look, a closer invisible look at these pots, the differences only lie in the external, either the color or the bent shape of one as opposed to the clean, the pure, smooth shape of the other. It's all, my dear daughter, on the surface. What you must look at is the clay. And what all of these pots have in common, how all of these pots are unified. Actually, what makes the pot a pot has nothing to do with the diversity or differences that you, my daughter, pointed out, but what makes the pot, and what unifies all of these pots into one singular entity is the clay. Not the pot, but the clay. The clay is always there as the essence, of the pot, and is completely, that essence of the clay is completely untouched and untainted and nearly uninterested by the potness of the pot. The clay is disinterested, unaffected by the potness. The clay is just there in essence. The pot can change in many, many diverse ways. By color, by shape. By perfection or by imperfection, but the clay is always the same. Now that, my friends, I think is a wonderful, magnificent definition of the soul. We are very accustomed to look at the pot and the color and the shape and the imperfection or the perfection of the pot. And that, to an extent, relatively speaking, is illusionary. When compared to the essence of that pot, which is the clay. Because the clay itself, it's funny that clay in English sounds exactly like the word kali in Hebrew, and kali means a vessel. The clay itself is the essence of creating the vessel itself. The exterior, the color, the imperfection, it doesn't matter. the clay itself is the essence of the vessel, of the creation of the space that creates vessel. And that is the essence. So in the same vein, the soul is the clay of our being. The rest of our being is the color, shape, perfection or imperfection that goes on. That, I think, my friends, is a wonderful way of looking at the soul. And it's a wonderful way of identifying that invisible essence that is the soul. To take the metaphor or parable a little further, the father here is teaching his daughter the ultimate not only parental teaching or parental guidance, but the universal human guidance and teaching, that by knowing the essence of the clay, of our clay, you will also automatically and organically know the essence of all things made out of clay. Once we get to know our own clay, our own soul, on the deepest level, that is when we open up ourselves to the knowledge of everything, to the knowledge of the universe, to the knowledge of the cosmos, to the knowledge of divinity. Once we dig deep into our own essences, when you know your own essence, then you know the essence of all things. When you know your own essence, you will be able to connect mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to the essence of other, of anything and anyone around you.
Rabbi, should we have...
And one second, just let me finish this last thing. And that, my friends, it is with that knowledge, that the knowledge of our own essences, to touch the wisdom, the everything that is contained within the clay, to get used to seeing and perceiving the clay and discounting the pot, the color, the this or the that of the pot, not to have our deep focus on the surface, but rather keeping our eye on the ball what we are calling our own essences, the clay within us, that is the level that we spoke about last week, the level of living in non-duality. Okay, now I'm ready.
Okay, Shabri.
Good morning, everyone. Rabbi, trying to follow your teaching here. And I keep thinking of when you said about the soul is the clay of our being. And every time I come up with the word clay, I'm seeing a pot. And yet it's far from a pot. It has nothing to do with anything manifested. So I'm feeling a bit confused.
Shabri, that you're taking the parable a little bit too literally, and you're getting stuck. You're getting stuck in the literal. And I understand it because if I'm talking about the soul, why am I talking about something so mundane and tangible as clay? But so you got to just dig a little deeper. That what the clay is to the pot in that relationship. That's what the soul is to ourselves, to our bodies. It is that because the clay in and of itself, the clay is that thing that also is not a thing. It's really the space, the vacuum. The deeper part of the metaphor is it's not even the clay itself, but it is the clay that creates that invisible space. It creates the air was there already, but it is the clay that creates the boundaries, that creates space. It creates the space that we also call kli. It creates the space for the creation of a vessel, a space that is created to receive something, to hold something. So the clay is really representative of the space, of the air that the clay helps create.
It's the clay
so that already you would admit is not tangible. It's invisible. The space is invisible. It's just air.
Yeah.
Okay. Unsurprisingly, we have several hands up. I saw Mike, and then Risa, and myself.
Okay. Good morning. Morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, the invisibility of it, it's really, I like that. That's just goes into that space and it forms the clay or the pot. I heard a similar metaphor of using water rather than clay. And if you have a number of different pitchers or different shaped pitchers and they're all different colors, if you pour water into any of the pitchers, the water takes the shape of that pitcher and the color of it. So whatever the water is put into, automatically that shape, the water takes that shape. It becomes the shape of that, just as the different clay pots became different shapes or different colors. And then if you take the soul and pour that into anything, a person, it takes the shape of that person and the color of that person, but it's the same soul that gets poured into it. So it's that pouring into the
Beautiful.
space that you mentioned,
Beautiful.
Rabbi. It fills the space. The soul fills the space of anything that we perceive, whether it's a tree or a computer or a person or a clay pot. It's the awareness or the soul or God that fills that particular space at that time. And the knowledge, the awareness, the sensate ability to give it a name, to give it a function, to give it a form, seems to be that added quality that separates humans from non-humans or from
Beautiful, Mike.
computers.
Beautiful. Equally wonderful metaphor. I hope Mike's contribution helps the clay metaphor.
Yeah, I've heard it also with gold. It seemed to be the, if you have gold and it becomes a bracelet or a tiara or a necklace, it's the quality of the gold. And from the standpoint of the gold, it has the same, it doesn't make any difference what shape the gold is formed into. It's all gold from gold standpoint. We put a particular value on the shape and the craftsmanship of it or the design of it, but it's all gold, it's all the same. And we're all soul from that standpoint.
Yeah. Absolutely, beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, Risa. And
Thank
then
you,
we'll
Mike.
take one more after that, Molly, and then I think we need to give the floor back to Akiva for a bit.
I might be confused, I'm not sure. Each of us is the clay pot. The clay pot is externally has the, because I've been writing down some of the words, has the imperfections that we see the color. That is us externally.
Yes.
The clay pot has a job. It holds the soil. Things, we hope that things grow. Is that what we would consider the analogy of us being the clay pot and our soul being the soil, being on this earth, having a job, and hoping for us to perform those jobs that we are here for and grow and change as we continue on our journey of life? Or am I completely off base?
Risa, you added like a nuance or a variable to the metaphor, because what you did do is, and that's okay, it's justifiable. You did. We started off with a parable about a pot, the phenomenon of a pot, and we reduced the phenomenon of the pot, that a pot is not a pot. A pot in essence is really the clay. And sometimes we get confused, sometimes we get distracted by the pot when we are taking our eye off of the ball, which is the clay. You added a new variable to the parable, to the already existing parable, and you added soil. You added, and we were just talking about pot and clay. You added a new variable called soil.
Am I naughty now?
No, not at all. you add, but you added a new variable, a new middleman, a new phenomenon called soil, and that adds, it adds something new to the parable. It is, that new dimension is actually deserving of discussion, but not now. Because that is an extra added variable to the very simplistic, whether we are looking at the pot or we are realizing that the pot is not the essence of the pot, but the clay is the essence of the pot. The third variable is going to come up next week when we start combining different variables in our metaphor. But very good. But very good eye. Very good eye. You're just a step ahead. I want to keep to the simplicity of it.
Yeah, to me, it's not. I'm just going to just say one more thing, and then
Sure.
Marcia take it. It's not that simple to me. It just seemed like it needed to go somewhere else.
May I
just
suggest and recommend?
Marcia, hold on one sec. Just keep the parable clay. Pot. Is anything and everything that comes to us that is external, including everything in the world that is external to me, and even deeper, even our own bodies and even our own minds manifest themselves as pots. And the parable, the thrust behind the parable is, you can look all you want at pots and the different conditions and different circumstances of the pot. But if you are not focusing on the clay, we are mamish missing the bullseye, because everything the father is teaching this daughter, everything, every type of wisdom, every type of knowledge, every type of knowing is going to be a knowing from the clay consciousness, not from the pot consciousness.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
I'm going to make an executive decision, because the topic is soul, the questions are deep and beautiful and take quite a while to state and then to answer. I have Molly and Donna will be the first two people I call on when Rabbi Akiva gives me the indication that he is ready for a new round of questions.
Okay, guys, very good. It'll be just a few more sparks of wisdom. So when we place our focus on essence, that is when we are reaching non-duality consciousness. We have to understand what that means. There's a Hebrew word, and the great wisdom masters of the past, our great mystics, starting with the Ari and then extending to the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov and then in particular the few main disciples of the Baal Shem Tov spoke about this one word that you should be putting like under your belt. And the word is hishtavut. I think we spoke about it. I'm not 100% sure. I think we spoke about it a little bit in the past. Hishtavut is the root word of hishtavut. Forget the first two Hebrew letters and the last Hebrew letter. The root word, the shoresh of hishtavut, which means equanimity. Equanimity comes from our famous and most beloved verse, Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid, which is usually translated, I place before me divinity always. But the play on words, this is a teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov says, Shiviti, I place before me, Yud He Vav He, Shiviti Adonai, I place before me divinity, before me always. He is doing a play on words, which he is very, very famous for. He's saying the word Shiviti does not only mean I place before me, but the root word of Shiviti is Shaveh. Shaveh means equal. I make divinity, I make the presence of divinity equal in everything that I do, everything that I see, everything that I am. I am equalizing divinity with the world that I see before me. The world is God, the world is divinity, and divinity is the world, is the manifestation of the world. I make them equal. Is there any other better way that I can prove to you that the Baal Shem Tov was one of the first ones to speak about non-duality? Is that a statement about non-duality? I create an equalization between this world, what we find in this world, what we can experience in this world, and divinity. I make them, I equalize them. Everything of this world is divinity, and everything of divinity is of this world. What the Baal Shem Tov is talking about here is there is a place within human consciousness that is capable of perceiving, of seeing, of experiencing, of a type of knowing that is undifferentiated. That's another good translation of the word hishtavut, equalization or a perception of undifferentiation. I do not make a difference. I have eyes. I have a perception that makes no differentiation between the energy levels in an apple and God's presence on Mount Sinai. I make no differentiation by meeting another human being with the proper lenses on, meeting another human being and meeting an angel of God. No diff. No diff. The Baal Shem Tov says that the capacity of the soul is capable of that equanimity, that undifferentiated perception. I am meeting one of you in the streets of Jerusalem when you come, and we hug. The hug is between me and another spark of divinity. It's not between me and you, or me and your body, and me or me and your mind. It's in my perception. I am properly viewing you not as a pot that has an exterior. I'm properly viewing you as when we hug and meet, or when we talk on Zoom, we are not talking about a conversation between pots. We are talking about a conversation between clay essences. When I meet you, I am meeting a spark of divinity. When I meet you, I see, I feel, I experience the clay level of your soul.
Bingo! And my heart is still racing.
Someone is singing, I think.
Margot, please mute.
So hishtavut, equanimity or undifferentiated perception, or non-duality, is not saying that the world of duality does not exist. That's one real huge misinterpretation of non-duality. Non-duality is not saying that duality does not exist. Because why? Because duality on this level of malchut, on this level dimension of living, does exist. It does. It's irrefutable that it exists. Duality exists. There is male, female. That's a duality, no? There is light and darkness. That's a duality. There is morning and night time. That's a duality. There is left and right. That's a duality. Duality does exist. Non-duality is not a philosophy that negates the existence of duality. Nor is duality an illusion. It's not an illusion. It's pretty real. Duality is pretty real. There's good and evil, night and day, male, female, straight, gay, Biden, Trump, Democrats, Republicans. There is duality in this world. What non-duality is saying is that there is this real world of duality, but we miss the fact, we are missing the fact that there is an underlying essence to this duality. There is an undifferentiated essence to the disparity of this world. That's what non-duality, in my mind, means. It's a matter of focus. It's a matter of perception. I accept, I welcome the duality and the duality can there is a duality. If you look at what I'm doing with my hands, there's a duality that is separating us like this. And then there is a duality that separates us like this. Dual, really two, really separate. Then there's a duality, yeah, and now my hands are leaving the screen. And then there is a duality that is as wide as my hands are now. So dualities like this are very close to non-duality, yeah. But when we start living in a world of duality that is like this, then we are in big time trouble, because this world was not meant to be perceived as that dual. So my perception of non-duality, and another, it's another word for non-duality, unity. We'll get to that. Non-duality means unity. It means harmony, undifferentiation. It means living in the Tiferet zone, in the place of harmony. When I am dealing with my life and my life experiences, recognizing duality, recognizing separations that exist, but not succumbing to the separations, but attempting to find undifferentiated harmony in the duality that I find in this world. That is the essence of living in a non-dual world, in living in the Tiferet zone. For those of you that have taken classes, living in the Tiferet zone is when Chesed and Gevura, which are sometimes two kind of opposing vibrations, chesed here, gevura here, get to know each other. When we get to know our capacity of chesed and our capacity of gevura, and then it melds into a tiferet zone at the tip of the triangle, which is at the core of our bodies, which is right underneath your breastbone, right in the middle of our core, when we can feel that undifferentiated harmony that is there, that exists there. It's only the surface parts that manifest duality. When we dig into our essences, the clay, and boy, do we have to dig deep down to get to that. When we dig into our essences, which we are going to be speaking about, how do we do that digging? How do we do that digging? But when we do, that is when our eyes, our hearts, our minds start creating open windows that will bring on this all-encompassing perception of non-duality, of unity in the world, and unity within us.
So speaking of unity, which you showed us hands together, may I acknowledge some hands, Rabbi?
For sure, but you were so humble in not doing your thing after you had something to say.
I may be calling you, but for now, let's acknowledge Molly and then Donna.
Morning, Rabbi. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Molly.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. I've been regurgitating all of this like it's coming up. And my question is, I get the clay pot because I believe that everything in life has a soul, and the coating on the outside, I call it the window dressing. Go to my business then. It's all window dressing. Everything is window dressing, from the tree to the flower to the pot to the table to the chair to the car to the person, whatever. And so we're all born with that essence or soul that we have. My thing is how many of us are going to be able in this world now and going forward to tune into who and what we truly are without all of the exterior window dressing. We're a very enlightened group. We're searching. But for somebody like me, I've always dwelt in blind faith. I have blind faith in my God, in divinity, in the way things are. And I'm waiting for the world to catch up, sort of to say, everybody has a right to live and everybody has a right to be. But the reality is that sometimes we just aren't allowed that feeling that when you say, when you meet somebody, I say when I meet somebody, you are me and I am you. There isn't a division, and maybe that's my background, I don't know, but there isn't so much a division. So no two people in the world will ever be the same. I don't believe, ever.
For sure.
Ever, for time and whatever. But how are we going to convince the majority of the world to start believing that it is acceptable to accept most things and everything? Because as you say, the clay pot is clay. We are soul. We all have that same soul the day we come into this earth. And what happens to it throughout time is just what's going to happen to it. So I think at the end of the day, blind faith is all we can have. You know, we're searching and we want some answers and understanding, and it's great. But at the end of the day, I think it's just blind faith that whatever is transpiring for a reason. And whatever the reason is, maybe we're not supposed to know what it is. We just have to be the best people we know how to be.
Oh, well, that last statement was actually going to be the essence of my response to you. Firstly, you said a few things, so I'm just gonna would I remember what registered. I know that there is an urge and a propensity within us that whatever level of enlightenment, whatever level of wisdom and understanding we have attained, I know that there is a natural urge to share it and to share it and to spread it. I have a comment on that, but it's not for now. But I would say the sharing, the sharing of our own acquisition of enlightenment and wisdom is not the subject here. And for right now, there is absolutely no need to share it. What we are talking about is you can start. Molly's bringing up like an important thing. We can all start from different points of departure. For you, Molly, you said a few times blind faith. Blind faith is your starting point, and I would say on that you can start your spiritual journey, the starting line of your spiritual journey with blind faith. However, there's a big however coming. To stay in blind faith is not doing justice to this teaching. Blind faith, in Kierkegaard's definition of blind faith, is a springboard for our spiritual journey. But this teaching is after that, after we have leaped off of that springboard, there is an absolute need for us to dig deeper and deeper and to dig not 3 feet deep into ourselves, but 5 miles into our essences, to make our lives, because the more we dig into our essences, the more colorful, the more meaningful our lives are going to be, the more satisfying and fulfilling. If it's just a leap of faith, blind faith, and it ends there, then I would feel sorry for that person, because that person, after the leap of faith, after the springboard of blind faith, one would be able to ask the question that from there, where do I go? What is my life going to be all about after that leap of faith? And the essence of this teaching is, oh, there is an eternal place to go to, and that place to go to is deep inside yourself, where the technicolor, the surround sound of life is gonna come to life. That everything and every experience and everything is going to be wildly a wild and crazy experience for us, and that we will feel and experience. So there's something that occurs after the springboard of blind faith, which is going back into the deep essence of who we are and what we are as individuals. We have a lot more internal work to be done before we can even attempt to start sharing. we share along the way, but and the light that we retrieve of discovering our essence will be shining through us, whether we like to share or not. It's going to be shared, whether we consciously share or not. It's there's just going to be a light shining from us. But to dig deeper into the essence is going to give color, is going to help our journey become more meaningful, more purposeful, more electric than just taking the leap of faith and leaving it at that. I hope that helped, Molly. Okay, go. Marcia?
Donna is up next. I don't see your face. Are you still there? Oh.
I always show my face when I'm going to speak. Rabbi, I'm going to try and capsulize, and if it's been said or out of order or whatever, please excuse me and I'll be glad to stop. I have a real issue with your paradigm and the analogy that you're using with the clay in the pot. And I think Shabri kind of mentioned it to me. It's our focus, there's so many things to say. Our focus should be on the maker and the creator of the clay that has the ability to mold and create a vessel. And to me, a vessel, the clay symbolizes the vessel, and it's our job to see what is in the vessel, not see the clay or the vessel, but to explore that which lies within, which you're all saying is our essence, our soul, that which every living, I guess, I don't know, inanimate objects, I haven't figured that one out yet, but every living thing has. So although I'm hearing you speak, I keep on saying to myself, it's not the clay, it's the maker of the clay, it's the molder of the clay, it's the essence behind. You said something, or Molly said something, I don't know. Well, my thought is that we all have the same jumping off point, that in the beginning God created, and our essence was created at that point. In each incarnation, we may have, I do believe that we do have different levels of knowledge and wisdom based upon prior experiences. And tell me it's okay. Just think of the clay the way you want me to and let go of the other stuff, which is acknowledge.
Don, I'm like, what you're saying is beautiful. You, the topic of this 4-week discussion is specifically, I didn't call it God. This is not a laser focus on God, the way we use the word God or divinity. It is specifically called the soul. My assumption is Elohai Neshamah Shenatata Bi Tahorahi, the soul that you have placed in us is pure. You created it, you formed it, and you v'ata nafachta bi, and you blew it. This is all metaphorical language, and you blew it into me. So my perspective now in talking about this is after the divine, after metaphorically the divine blow into me, the soul, the part of divinity, the breath of divinity that I inhaled, that now is part of me, is my focus. It is not any. It is not. My focus is not connected to what I call source. It is, what do I do with the breath of divinity that is in my center, that exists within me now.
And now the
So
pot,
my focus is not on source. What do I do with that breath, with that divine breath that is within me? I need to get to know it. I need to dig deep into it. I have to getting to know you. I need to know it before I can even then connect its essence to source. But let me engage the divine breath that exists below, right in my heart, below my breastbone, and let me find out who I am in relation to my soul.
that it makes sense, Rabbi, and it makes sense how you're using the clay and the pot, because we're trying to connect that knowledge to a soul essence to be able to not see the pot, but the clay. Okay,
Yes.
I understand it now from your perspective.
Great.
Thank you so much.
It's just, now you can
Yeah. I can let go of all the
Thank you,
schmutz that
Donna.
goes through my
Thank
head.
you.
Thank you.
And I don't see anybody's hand up who hasn't already spoken, but we do have Risa with her hand up. Is there time?
Yes. If not, we can move on then, and I could ask my question later, but do we have a moment?
Guys, we're talking about digging deeper, and we're talking about expanding our our perceptions and our then any comment, any question is absolutely necessary and welcomed. If we're in any way restricting what things that are on our hearts or on our minds and on our souls, then what the hell are we doing? So go. I don't care about time.
That's so apparent.
If we're gonna do it right, I mean, I'm not here I'm not here to offer encyclopedic knowledge. I'm here to hear and discuss and exchange wisdom that is coming from deep within you. So go for it. Who's Marcia? Who's up? Who wants to
I do.
lay it out?
Oh, no. Okay, no, never mind. Okay.
I do.
Marcia, you're the leader, so.
Yeah, Marcia,
Whoever
I can't do this.
Marshall, when you get a chance.
I see Sandy Poslins. I see Chabris.
Well, since we're not talking, Rabbi, can I go? Because I've
I
been
should
thinking
just call
about
on
this.
someone.
I really want to honor the moderator.
Marcia, you're
don't want-
muted. You keep talking. We don't hear you.
Marcia, you're muted.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's start with some people who haven't spoken yet. I saw Bruce, then Sandra, and then Kathleen.
Should I start?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Brusilla.
Hi. I'm really enjoying and engrossed in this experience today. Very quickly, this past weekend, I flew to DC and Sheila was there. She had a marvelous experience. She was invited to perform sort of a lifetime achievement piano concert for the Penn Women of America at their location. So that was a real gewalt, and I appreciated her experience. But I wasn't there for that. I came later the following week, and my grandson just graduated from American University, and it was for that occasion that went to a Kabbat house. To some extent, the rabbi honored my grandson because he's been attending the Kabbat house there for years. And it was another wonderful gewalt to have that experience. But here's my point. I stopped taking my medications, both in considerable, and when I got out of my cocoon in Boca from my comfortable zone and into the DC dynamics of cold weather and Ubers and I started to get what's some kind of dislocation within, and between all the experiences, I was internalizing and freezing and really out of sorts, but still enjoying the blessings that were around me and the love of the families and friends. But let me just tag this. I come back to Boca last night and through the night and today and to this experience with you and the group. And I resumed my medications, and I had my food, I was thinking about the role of the body and chemically, biologically, how, and mentally, psychologically, how I was all for puts. And now I've reintegrated, and the love, the openness, the feelings of joy and freedom and health, I'm just in this glorious state right now of recovering from the Ubers and walking the beautiful Georgetown and all the colors and people, and very excited, but particularly feeling that I found myself again. And
Great, Bruce.
just,
That's so wonderful, Bruce. I think correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you're describing is that you have been granted a flash of what hishtavut, of what non-duality, an experience of non-duality. That's correct me if I'm wrong, but that feeling that you just tried to describe, if I can place it in the definition of you are feeling an aspect of your soul that you have felt, you have experienced a non-dual, a harmonious, undifferentiated feeling that points to the clay and not to the pot.
joy. Blessed joy.
You've touched an essence of something.
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you for that, for taking us on that journey to Washington. and Mazel Tov to Sheila, by the way. Tell her that.
Okay.
Yes.
And now we have Sandra, and then Kathleen.
Okay.
We have 15 minutes to go, so we'll see how much.
I'll do this quickly. I'm going to do this quickly. I always think about the Neshamah being put into the clay that is our body, and when this, and I always look to the second Adam. I know there's only one Adam, but I always call the second Adam the second Adam. So,
no, beautiful.
Okay. So when God in the second Adam, when he formed man from the dust of the earth, I think that, and I don't know what it says in Hebrew, that is the clay that formed us.
No. Sandy, hold on. You're mamish on the right track, and on one other aspect, you're distorting the metaphor. Yeah, but on one level, you are absolutely correct. So I have to stop you there before things get too complicated.
Okay.
And you're intimating the same thing that Shabri said a little bit before. The clay in this metaphor is the Neshamah.
Okay.
The pot is the body.
Okay.
The clay is the thing from which creates, which is the essence that creates the manifestation of the pot. So the clay in this metaphor is the all-encompassing, perpetual, eternal landscape from which the body is working from which the body is becoming energized from.
Okay.
The rest, the pot and the body is the manifestation. The clay is the essence. That's what we're mixing up a little bit. The clay is the clay is the kli, is the empty space.
Okay, now I'm seeing it very differently, because as you know, when you keep reading, you have God putting his breath into. So I was thinking that was
so Sandy, so let me continue with your beautiful analogy, which I actually was going to mention, that when the Torah speaks of Adam 1 and Adam 2, what was created first, Adam 1 is the pot. Not created first. We're not because it's all one big metaphor. How the Torah introduces humankind, the human psyche, the human being, is first the Torah talks about the pot. Okay. And that is Adam 1. And Adam 1 is functional.
Yes.
The functional human being, the human being that is full of duality, that is capable of that is born into duality, that is capable of using the vessels of the world of duality and functioning in it, functioning successfully, or screwing up and functioning unsuccessfully. That's Adam 1. And that is full of capabilities within the world of duality and within the creative world of duality.
Okay.
Adam 2 is already about the clay. The clay is the soul. The clay is the landscape. The clay, Adam 2, is not functioning man, but majestic man, transcendent, the thing that is transcendent within mankind, within humankind. We have functioning and dual, and we have majestic and transcendent. That is the clay and the pot. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting that the Torah begins the story, the narrative parable, because it's all a parable. The first 3 chapters in Genesis is all metaphor. But it's very interesting to note, and Sandy, thanks for, like pointing this out. It's very interesting to note that the Torah, in a very practical way, the prophetic divine document of the Torah actually begins with pots and not the clay. Only comes to the clay after realizing we have a body, we live in the world of duality. I want to make that, the Torah says, I want to make that clear first. And only then introduces majestic man. Vayipach ba'apav nishmat chayim, and God and divinity blew into the human functioning dual man a nishmat chayim, another aspect of life that is called the life of soul, the soul life. It's interesting that the Torah begins on a very tangible, practical level, and only afterwards says, but you know what? There's a transcendent side to your immanence. There's a higher side. Thank you, Sandy.
So I detect a pause. We have
Okay,
8 minutes left.
Okay, so I don't want to leave anyone out, but I do want to continue.
Okay,
But go,
Kathleen, try to
Kathleen,
get to you before the end.
go for it. Go
Okay,
for
I just
it.
had a quick question. When I was studying for conversion, I said something that made the rabbi tell me that it sounded pantheist and that wasn't Jewish. But pantheism sounds a lot like non-duality. What's the difference?
Whoa. Okay, Kathleen, that is a good one. I'm going to give you like a quickie, a kind of quick answer, but I have to say that the quick answer actually requires some more time, because it's a deep question. It's a deep question. Kathleen, statement number one is that the great masters of Jewish mysticism came centimeters away from full-blown pantheism. So in contradistinction to what your rabbi told you, there is a very legitimate stream. I think the only legitimate stream within Jewish tradition that comes centimeters away from full-blown pantheism. That's number one. The Ari's teachings and the Baal Shem Tov's teachings were replete with pantheistic inclinations. What differentiates pantheism, full-blown pantheism, from Jewish mystical pantheism is, and I'm going to give you a little homework to look this up, is the difference between the English word pantheism and the English word panentheism. And the difference between those two English words is going to be the differentiation that your rabbi was trying to express. Jews are not pantheists. Jewish mystics are most definitely buying into the idea of panentheism. And the difference between the two is the difference between the Jewish view of pantheism and vizehu and real pantheism.
Thank you.
Panentheism. That creates a difference. And it's a very fine difference, but nevertheless, it is a difference. It creates a totally different perception.
I'll look it up. Thank you.
Look it up and talk to either email me, tell me what you discovered, or in the next class, look it up and say you got clarification or you didn't, because it's a terribly important question and differentiation that you made.
And Shabri still has her hands up, and we have 3 more minutes of class. So bear that in mind, please.
Rabbi, if you don't mind, I've been thinking about this all weekend, actually, the soul, as opposed to, let's say, not God, but consciousness. That everything is consciousness, and where does the soul fit into this consciousness? And it seems to me that there is no differentiation between consciousness and the soul. Am I on the wrong track here?
Okay, Shabri, that was a beautiful insight. That's great. That's where I'm going next. That's exactly what I'm going to be addressing next. In the next, Marcia, 3 minutes.
Timekeeping has never been my strength, but it's what I'm called.
Okay. So, guys, this discussion was beautifully deep, and no one is asking or expressing peripheral questions. So it's all part of the learning. It's all part of the learning. So Shabri, so it's a great insight of yours, and that's where I'm going. The essence of the pot clay story is look into your own essences. Look deeply within. Your soul right now, once your soul right now has nothing to do with your conception of God, your conception or perception of divinity. If we can accept that and welcome that there is a clay, there is a kli, there is a vessel, there is an opening, there is a space within ourselves that is beyond ourselves, then the only lesson to be taken from the parable is look within and discover. There is something within us that has not yet been discovered. And that is going to go on for the rest of our lives. And the fulfillment and purpose in life is to actualize that discovery. Explore, be committed to explore your own inner essence. Explore yourself. Explore yourself, and you will discover your soul. You will discover majestic man within you. We, friends, we all we all call this journey, this journey of exploring our inner selves, we call this, it's just a name, we call this the soul. And we also call it, as Chabri correctly said, we also call it exploring our consciousnesses. And there's a little bit of a problem when we call this by nouns. You know, when we talk about the soul is a noun, correct? If not a proper noun. There's a problem in English by calling our souls this thing that reflects our inner essences by a noun, by calling it the soul, by calling it our consciousnesses. Now, nouns are dangerous because nouns are easily made into objects, made into what the Torah calls idol worship, or at the very, or if not idol worship, at the very least, when we call something by a noun, like the soul, at the very least, we are only talking about organized constructs of the mind. And that there is a danger in that. We're calling the soul like a thing that has to be, that thing is the clay that creates the space of. It's much deeper. It's invisible. It's transcendent. It's ayin. It is the nothing that is the everything. So we're left with, and I'm going to paraphrase, you know, that beautiful famous book by David Cooper. God is a verb. I'm going to transpose that and saying that soul is not a noun. God is, just as God is not a noun, God is not a noun, is not a thing. God is a verb. God is a active, functioning energy. And in the same manner, soul is not a noun. It's not an organ in our body. It is a verb. Soul is a verb. And the verb has to do with our own exploration, our own lech lecha, our own going on the journey of discovery of the soul. And the more we look, we're going to end with this, the more we look within, the more the soul is going to become a verb. The soul is not a thing. The soul is an activity of searching. And we use our consciousnesses, we use our minds, we use our emotions to do the digging. Until beyond all the duality, beyond all the schmutz of what we call life, and all of the intricacies of life, and all of the challenges of life, and all of the disappointments of life, and all of our false perceptions of life, until that is through examining, through looking within, until all of that is cleared up, cleared away, we are not getting to the essence of who we really are and what we really are. So the takeaway from today is, if the best thing to do is to take a look not at surface but to look at essence, then the activity, the verb, the functionality of examining and looking within is the key to unlock the mysteries of who we are, of what we are, is looking within. And how we accomplish that looking within, we will be concentrating on next week.